Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. Today we are talking about the new horror movie that everybody is talking about, and that is Terrifier 2. Resurrected by a sinister entity, Art the Clown returns to Miles County to terrorize a teenage girl and her younger brother on Halloween night. Man, I was so mad that I was not able to catch this film on the initial opening weekend that it got released because I was actually down at Universal Halloween Horror Nights. So I wasn't able to catch the film, and I thought that it was only going to be in theaters for that weekend because it's kind of a limited release. But lucky for me, the movie actually ended up doing really well, so it got an extended release this past weekend, and actually it's going to be in theaters, it sounds like, again this weekend just because of the fan demand, which is awesome. And my showing at my theater was actually sold out. I had to go about like a half an hour drive for this theater, which the one thing that I'll say is that whenever there's kind of like a limited release, this AMC seems to get a lot of those type of movies, so I was really glad that they are carrying this because I know there's a lot of theaters throughout the country that unfortunately weren't carrying this film, which is too bad because, you know, I'm really glad that I got to see this on the big screen. I know a lot of people don't have that opportunity, so hopefully, maybe if this keeps doing well, that it'll start expanding to some other theaters. But yeah, the theater was pretty much sold out. And this movie, it's been getting a lot of publicity because there's been talk of people going to this movie and passing out, throwing up because of what they've seen. So it's definitely getting a lot of publicity for that. So I was curious, and I had seen the original film. I didn't see it when it initially came out. I saw it on Netflix, I want to say, and it was pretty brutal. So I was, after hearing these stories, I was definitely excited to check this out for sure. And I can tell you guys that while the first Terrifier is pretty brutal, Terrifier 2, it pretty much turns it up on all levels to an 11. So Art the Clown is back and meaner than ever in Terrifier 2, and he is played by David Howard Thornton once again masterfully. And the thing about Art that kind of freaks me out compared to a lot of the other slashers that we have, the horror icons as you would say, the thing that kind of does freak me out with Art is that, you know, you go up against some of these other people like Michael Myers, Jason, Freddy, and, you know, sure, you'll probably die a fairly, you know, violent death with these characters, but when it comes to Art, the dude doesn't just kill you, like, he just keeps going on after you're already dead, and, like, just keeps going and going, and something about that, I don't know, just kind of freaks me out a little bit, so it's like, if I had to run into any one of these slashers in real life, would probably not want to be Art. There was definitely a couple times in this movie that I'm pretty good when it comes to gore. Like, I've seen a fair amount of movies that are pretty gory. But I will tell you guys, there was a couple times throughout this film where myself, I definitely cringed a little bit, made me feel a little uncomfortable. But I think that if you are gore hounds, if you like that kind of stuff, then I think you're going to have a lot of fun with this movie. Because each one of these kills is almost like its own, like, set piece. They put a lot of thought and effort into each one of these things, and they don't just happen in like a couple seconds. No, they go on for a couple minutes. So you can tell that there was a lot of work put into these things, and just looking at that from a special effects side of things and just like makeup and everything, what they were able to do with this film, I thought was amazing. This time around, though, Art might have met his match in the form of a character named Sienna, played by Lauren Lavera. She plays the protagonist of this film, and I just gotta say, she is fucking amazing. And without going into spoilers, I will just tell you guys that she goes toe-to-toe with the psychotic clown on a number of occasions, and she just delivers a really good overall performance all around, makes an excellent final girl, and so you really have someone that you're rooting for in this movie. There was actually at one moment, and I won't tell you guys what it was, but there was a specific moment where I almost started clapping because I was like, fuck yeah, get him, Sienna, let's go! There's also a character called the Little Pale Girl, which I won't go into too many details because, again, I don't want to get into spoilers for you guys if you haven't had a chance to see the film. But all I will say is that she knocked it out of the park with this role here. She was creepy as hell, and I'm really excited for you guys to check her out in this movie. And she's played by Emily McLean. And you also have Elliot Fullam, who plays the younger brother of Sienna. He kind of starts out this movie and he's sort of obsessed with like the legend of Art the Clown. But overall, like, I think he did a really good job in this film too. And one of the craziest things about this movie is that it's 138 minutes long, which is just unheard of when it comes to a slasher. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Forgive me if I'm forgetting something, but I feel like it's honestly one of the longest horror movies, slasher movies of all time, which is pretty crazy. And even though there is some moments where you can definitely maybe cut out a little bit here and there, I think overall, for being that long, I thought the pacing was done pretty well. And I gotta give it up for Damien Leone again, who is directing the film. He directed the first one as well. This is kind of his, his baby. And just, I really love that the film, this one, once again, it definitely has that gritty feel and look to it overall. And it's just super impressive considering they were working with a $250,000 budget, what they were able to do with this movie. Again, I gotta give a shout out for the special effects in this movie because I thought they looked fantastic. And I know he has a hand in that as well, creating a lot of those pieces, the makeup and stuff like that. Everything to me, for considering what they were working with, I thought it looked amazing. And some of the gore and stuff that you'll see, it looks pretty damn real for the most part. So yeah, hats off to you guys. You did an amazing job with that. So I think if you're just a fan of like film and effects and things like that, I think that you'll be impressed with that stuff just alone. So guys, I will say Terrifier 2 is the rare occasion where a sequel is actually better than the original movie, in my opinion. It delivers a new Final Girl and Lauren Lavera, and Art the Clown makes his claim as the next horror icon. So I really enjoyed the hell out of this movie. Again, it was great that I was able to catch this in theaters because I think it was one of those things after hearing about all the hype about the movie, which I know sometimes can set up the expectations a little crazy, but I thought for me it delivered on all those levels. So as far as the score goes, I'm going to give this an 8.7 out of 10. Like I said, I really enjoyed this thing. It's definitely one of my favorite horror films of the year, and I hope that you guys get the chance. I believe I just saw that it's going to be in theaters again this weekend, so hopefully if you haven't already, I hope you get the chance to check this out. If not, as soon as you are able to, it's definitely one that I would recommend if you are a horror fan. But if you guys did enjoy this film too, I actually got a chance to talk to Lauren Lavera a couple years back. The film was supposed to come out originally a little bit sooner, but with the pandemic, everything kind of got pushed back. So I got to talk to her a few years ago about the film. So I will put the link to that at the end of this video. Also, I'll put it down below in the description. So make sure to check that out. And I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are. So if you have had a chance to see the film, let me know what your thoughts are down below. If you haven't, is this something that's on your radar that you're going to check out? And as always, guys, if you are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button as well as the bell button next to it. That way you get notifications for all my new videos. Give this video a thumbs up. And as always, guys, please make sure to check back for more Pop Culture with Pat.